So I'd like to talk about a concept of data types before we go much farther. I want to give you a general overview. Programs like Python, programming languages, often store data in recognizable data types. Generically, you see things like numbers and text. There's also things like dates that are stored in something called objects, and we'll learn about that later in class. But there's different types of numbers, and they have to delineate about what kind of data type is stored in variables to do certain operations. For instance, if you have two bits of text and you put a plus sign between them, you don't want it to try to add it together. You want it to append the two text strings. And likewise, if you see a variable name like you see here, num of apples and another num of apples, and you have a num of apples plus this another num of apples, you want it to recognize these as numbers so it does a true mathematical addition. So this is one of the reasons programming languages keep track of data types. So just to take a quick look ahead, you see this is a string. I call it sometimes string text just to keep it clear. str is just a shorthand for string. And first name, I notice I'm using the sort of the preferred naming style for Python naming style for variables is to put an underscore between different words in a variable. It doesn't have to be done that way. Python won't enforce that. It's just in the style guides they recommend that. So first underscore name equals Steve. And you see Steve is there with double quotes around either side of it, and that delineates it and says there's text in here. Okay, it's not a number, it's in double quotes. Whatever's in there is going to be treated like it's a bit of text. Now down here in numeric things, we have integers or int, and you see to declare a variable name, I just type up a new name. I just make these names up. There's nothing special about it. I put num of apples equals 3. So the way things work, just like in mathematics, it does the thing on the right first. It says 3, looks at the equal sign, says, and assigns 3 to the variable of number of apples. And over here with another num of apples, it takes the 4 and assigns it to that. So the way we probably would speak is we'd say the value of num of apples is 3, or the value of another num of apples is 4. Now the other kind of number can have a decimal point in it, and they're always called floats. Okay, so and there's the little data type, a lowercase float is the word. And so if you see float with anything, that means we're dealing with decimals. So your age could be 25.7 and my age is 59.2. And so we could deal with that. And when it recognizes as a floating point number, that's how it's often referred to, then it'll be able to do certain mathematical operations that it could do with floating points that it wouldn't necessarily be able to do with just integers by themselves. And this will be revealed over time. Right now, I just want to give you a kind of a real basic idea of what data types are. And so mostly we're going to deal with numbers and text, which will be strings and integers and floats. So those will be the three things that we'll concern ourselves with going forward in the near term.